Welcome to the Obstacle Man YouTube channel for a race review of the 2022 Ottawa Spartan Super, located in Calabogie, Ontario. The race was held at Calabogie Peaks Resort, which is nestled right next to Calabogie Lake. On the course map, we have 614 meters of elevation gain and 28 obstacles. Now let's take you to the start of the race.
On your left and right. You'll draw strength from them. They'll draw strength from you. You will not let them fail. Who am I?
I'm Spartan.
I hold the two holds dear on the spirit that bid you stand, sons and daughters of Sparta. Stand and fight. For today is the day you rise to glory. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right here, right now, in your hometown, Ottawa. Who am I?
I'm Spartan.
Who am I?
I'm Spartan.
Let me hear you. Who am I?
I'm Spartan.
Aru, 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 go!
And we are off. So this was the age group heat, the first age group heat after the elite heat. We set off at 7:45 in the morning, and it included everyone 30 years and under, as well as those 55 to 65, if I'm not mistaken. As in most races, everyone starts off a little bit too fast. Emotions are high, the adrenaline is going. The field does quickly start spreading out after this first climb. Unfortunately, I did not film the first obstacle, which was hurdles at the top of this hill. I did get most of them, like this one right here, 7-foot wall. At this point, the field has spread out. There are two guys in front of me. As you'll see here, green shorts, the conch guy, Mr. Davis. He had a solid race. I did try to play this race to my strengths, which are climbing. I've been doing a lot of climbing this season at local ski hills. And now up here you can see there's pipe layer. Unfortunately, I stopped the camera just before pipe layer. And then here was my nemesis for the race, Mr. Connor Bell. He was super consistent, had a great effort the entire race, and was breathing down my back, definitely made me push pretty hard. And here's the box. It's my first time encountering the box. I definitely underestimated it. As you can see, struggling quite a bit. And Connor caught up to me here and I almost kicked him in the face. Now at the top of the mountain here, we have Stairway to Sparta. It was great because this was actually my first time doing all the obstacles we're used to seeing in the American races and the National Series races. This is the first year that I'm doing it, that Spartan US is actually in charge of all the Canadian races. And here at the top of the hill, here's the reward you get. Beautiful view of Calabogie Lake. And it was quite muddy. It had just rained a lot the night before. So here you can see some of that mud I'm talking about. It made some of the descents a little bit sketchy. Now the next obstacle on the docket here was Olympus. Typically I would have gone for the chains, but I wasn't too confident in my shoes' grip, so I went for the holes instead, which might have been the wrong choice, because as you'll see in a second, I actually ended up losing grip. I had to hold on by one hand. Luckily I didn't touch the ground, avoided doing some burpees. And here's an added obstacle, avoid the staff. Next we have Twister. First time doing this obstacle, and these grip obstacles were a bit damp, so there wasn't too much confidence in the grip. So I took my time. This is the swing I'm most comfortable with. Now this one seems like a climb, but it was just a little climb. We didn't go all the way to the top of the ski hill this time. Maybe a third of the way up, and then we had to shoot back down.
Thank you.
So next up here we have beater. Again, metal pipes were a little bit damp, so you really had to take your time, make sure you had a good grip. I know a lot of people fell on this one. And here, as you can see on my left, Connor makes the pass. Now this next obstacle, Bender, is actually one that I had trained for the most. So I was able to do this obstacle pretty quickly. I had actually built some incline monkey bars in my basement stairs just to train for that obstacle. And that was the last of the big climbs. So this 4-foot wall is actually at the top of the hill again. So this is the last descent. I started a barbed wire crawl a little late, but you get to see most of it. This one was a bit more forgiving. Some years you're doing a barbed wire crawl and there's rocks everywhere. This one was on some lush grass. Now if you've never done the barbed wire crawl and you've never tried this spinning method like I just did, it can make you quite dizzy. So I was pretty disoriented at this point going into the sandbag carry. Now, I don't know about the other participants, but some of the ones I talked to after the race all seemed to mention that the 60-pound sandbag didn't quite feel like 60 pounds, which I would agree. It was a bit of a horseshoe shape, so we went down the hill and right back up the hill. Probably about 100 meters. Now we have the A-frame cargo net. This was a bit of a gauntlet. So it started with the A-frame cargo net, followed by spear throw, monkey bars, and the Hercules Hoist actually was after the monkey bars, as you'll see. Some awkward fidgeting here. I knew I wanted to flip, but I wasn't quite high enough on the other side, so I had to reposition. Now, of all the obstacles at this race, this is the one that had me the most nervous. Typically, the spear throw can be the most volatile. Even if you train for it, I mean, just a little mistake can make you miss, and then you have to be doing 30 burpees, which can cost you a couple of minutes in the race and tire you out more than you need to be. If you don't have a homemade spear throw at home, I would definitely recommend making one. It can make a huge difference, as you'll see here.
Which way?
Now, I was a little lost. The course was really well marked, but the only place where I tended to be unsure was in this main portion here, the village. Typically, I'm pretty comfortable on monkey bars. These were more spread out than I remembered, and again, they were a little bit damp. Luckily, I was able to make it to the end. All the volunteers were great. Whenever I asked where I needed to go, they were knowledgeable and quick to point out which lanes to take or which hoist to grab. The hoist bag was heavy, but definitely doable.
Which way?
Next up was Helix, if I remember correctly. So at this point, like I said, all the hills are done. It's just some flat running with a whole bunch of obstacles. So here's Helix, another first obstacle for me. Pretty straightforward though. Just try not to slip. Luckily it wasn't muddy or anything. I never really had a chance to relax throughout this race. Connor was right behind me pretty much at every obstacle. And when you don't know who you're up against, you don't know what kind of runner they are or how good they are on obstacles, you don't really have a time to relax. So there he was. He's basically just an obstacle behind me. So I had to keep pushing throughout the whole race. Given the new elite qualification system with Spartan, I had to compete in the age group in the hopes of being able to compete in the elite at the Tremblant race. So there, unfortunately, I just missed filming Atlas carry. So here's a 6-foot wall. Took a little bit of a tumble. Now the next obstacle here, this one felt pretty nice. This was my favorite obstacle of the entire race. After running up a ski hill 3 times, walking into some cold water feels pretty nice. Now here in the distance you can see the next obstacle strategically placed after the dunk wall, the multi-rig. Now and to the left there you can see a gentleman doing some burpees, so I figured I would take it easy, make sure my grip was good. The bar was slippery, but the rings weren't too bad. They kind of have a rubber coating, so even if your hands were a bit wet, it wasn't too bad. Unfortunately here I did miss filming Z walls, so here we have the inverted wall. And this part was quite fun, just a little bit of a bushwhacking, marsh running. Getting close to the finish line, we have the vertical cargo with this added box for difficulty. At the end of the race, you're pretty tired. This one was kind of hard, but I was able to reach that bar and pull myself up. Did a little bit of a sideways flip and ninja roll. The last 3 obstacles, we had a rope climb, a slip wall, and then the fire jump. At this point you're really excited, you can hear people cheering at the end. The end is near, your hard work is paid off. You feel pretty good once you get to the slip wall. Now, I saw clips of other people running down these. I didn't want to take a chance and trip on the last obstacle. And there we go. That was the Ottawa Spartan Super. It was a great race. It's my first time doing a race with a camera in my mouth, as you can see. Made for an interesting race, but I got to capture it for you guys. I plan on doing the same thing at my next race, Mont Tremblant Spartan Beast. I'll have the privilege of competing in the elite wave. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow along for the next adventure.